Hi, and welcome to another episode on M&A Ambassadors, Becoming the USP, the Ultimate Sales Professional. On today's episode, I wanted to address the importance of having a structured and an effective selling process. I get this question from a lot of new brokers as well as the experienced ones. Do I really need a structured selling process? I mean, I'm closing deals already, so why do I have to discipline myself and use a professional structure? So do I actually need it? I don't use it and I'm still making money. I'd like to correct you there for a moment. You are using a process. The real question is, are you using a designed and engineered process, or are you working on unconscious pattern, which is simply an adopted process that you've picked up over the past few years in selling? It's a crash, burn, and learn process. Let me make that clear. I'll use an analogy. Victor Antonio, I quoted him in my previous video, America's #1 sales coach. He describes the selling process and its importance in this manner. Let's say you had to bake a cake and you brought all the ingredients together, but you don't have standard instructions to follow. So you start putting all the ingredients together, you throw them in one after the other, and you put your cake in to bake, and it comes out perfect. Everybody loves the cake and you're excited. So next week you decide to bake the cake again. But this time, when you're mixing all the ingredients, you add a little more of one ingredient and a little less of the other, and the cake just doesn't come out the way it did the previous week. You try it a third week again, and you're still not happy with the result. That's because you don't have and you don't follow a recipe. When you don't follow the recipe, you can never have consistency in your results. And without the consistency, you will always lack control. On the other hand, let's say you did use a structured, designed process, which is what all great salespeople do. They understand the value of these processes and they respect the process. What are the benefits of using a structured process? Firstly, sales processes have been created through years and years of experience. They've been tried and tested, and the results have been proven again and again. So a good designed sales process actually sets you up for success. The second benefit of using a good selling process is that it keeps you in control of the selling engagement. Both you and I know that you should be in control of the selling engagement. When you follow a nicely designed, structured process, the process itself keeps you in control. Why does that happen? It's because when your process is structured, you logically ask questions, you present at the right time, you handle all objections and concerns in a professional manner. There is no need for your prospect, for your buyer or your seller to interrupt and want to take control. They will give you the control because your process seems so logical and smooth. The third benefit is sales being a high-tension environment, a high-tension engagement. There is a possibility we might forget a few steps or miss out on certain critical questions that will help uncover valuable information before we even present the solution. By sticking to your selling process, which has already been engineered to make sure all the correct questions are being asked, you will never miss out on information that could be the deal clincher or the deal breaker. So it actually ensures that you are effective in your approach and you can fit the best solution to the requirement of the client. The fourth benefit of using a good selling process is the fact that you can move the client from a resistance to buy mindset, which is how many of them start the engagement with us, and you take them through the process and you build them up step by step to the willingness to buy mindset. A selling process that is not engineered to move the client from the resistance mindset to the willingness to buy mindset is not going to get you the results that you require. And fifth, probably the most important reason, especially for us in real estate. The type of clients that we work with, both buyers and sellers, are millionaires and billionaires, key decision makers, CEOs, vice presidents, people at that level. These people are unconsciously organized, structured, focused, and effective in everything they do. You see, people buy from people they like, but people like themselves. By using a well-structured selling process, you will automatically become like them, at least in their perception. They don't see the need to interrupt you. They see you as organized, structured, well-planned, and everything that you're doing is logically fitting into the next step. So I would like to encourage you, especially if you're a new broker, when you go back to your agency, to ask your leadership, what is the typical selling process that we use here? Ask them to explain to you why they selected that process and why have they designed it in that particular way. It's important for you to ask these questions, because if you do not understand why the process has been structured that way, you will never commit to actually using the process. The why question is very important, and your leadership, your directors and managers should be able to explain to you the rationale behind adopting that kind of process. Now, once you understand the process and the power of it in your agency, then comes the adoption. The adoption is where you own the process and you begin to bring it into every phone call, meeting, Zoom call that you have, every viewing that you do, so that you can close the deal to the benefit of all parties concerned. And the third, and again, probably the most important in adopting the process, is to ensuring that you have a consistent approach, which only comes through practice, practice, and practice. So there you have it on the episode for this week. I urge you to go back to your agency to find out the selling process that you have and be disciplined enough to adopt it and practice it and go and make some money. Thank you for joining us on this episode of M&A Ambassadors, USP, the ultimate sales professional.